I went to the markets this morning with a simple challenge: take 50 Australian dollars with me and see what seasonal and bulk ingredients I can buy. And the dish we're making today is a really delicious beef stew. It's slow cooked, making that meat nice and tender. And I'm also going to show you how to make a Michelin-starred mash. All right, we just got home and we have everything that we need. We even got a couple of bulk items as well that we can use for other recipes, so that's always a bonus. We also have a couple of pantry staples that most people should already have at their home. All of this stays well within the budget.
What we got was 1 kilo of chuck steak, $24.99, 2 brown or yellow onions, $1.37, 1 bulb of garlic for $1, 2 kilos of carrots. For the amount we need, it's only 60 cents. The same with the potatoes. I got 5 kilos and the amount we need is $2.80. A whole bunch of parsley. The amount we need is 21 cents. Same with the bay leaves, which work out to be 23 cents. And then finally with the thyme, 43 cents. Now for the chuck steak, it's 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds. It's perfect for slow cooking. Trim off any large bits of sinew or fat and then cut this into even sized chunks. Keeping those pieces uniform, it's going to help them cook at the same rate and break down evenly for that melt in your mouth texture. Place the chuck steak into a large bowl and add in 2 tablespoons of plain flour to coat, followed up with a generous pinch of salt. Toss everything together so the beef is evenly coated. The flour helps create a golden crust when we sear it, adding a deep flavor to the stew, and later it will help naturally thicken the sauce as it cooks low and slow. For the 2 brown or yellow onions, take off both ends, slice it in half, peel it, you know what to do, and chop the onion up into large pieces. It doesn't need to be super fine, or it doesn't even need to be perfect for this recipe because everything is going to be cooked down. Crush 5 cloves of garlic to release the oils or the allicin compound, then give them a rough chop. We don't need them to be fine, grated, or even thinly sliced. You can leave them whole and then they'll cook down and melt into the stew. Take off the tops from 2 unpeeled carrots and slice them into rough chunked pieces. You can keep the skin on, it adds extra flavor and saves time, but you're more than welcome to remove that peel if you prefer. Just like the carrots, we're going to chop up 2 unpeeled potatoes into large chunks. Like I said before, you can peel them if you prefer. And if you wanted to, you can swap these out for extra carrots or even mushrooms, since we're already using the potatoes in the mash. Now with 4 bay leaves, 8 sprigs of thyme and a small handful of parsley, about 5 grams, tie them all together with kitchen twine, and this is going to make a bouquet garni. And what this is a French technique that adds flavor to slow cooked dishes. All we need to do is just drop it in, let it infuse, and then we pull it out right before serving. Now heat a pot over medium-high heat and add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once it shimmers, add in the beef in a single layer. Don't overcrowd the pan because this is going to allow our meat to steam rather than sear. And searing builds flavor through that Maillard reaction, so let it brown properly before turning. And we want to cook this for a total of about 2 to 3 minutes or until golden all over. And then we can remove it and repeat with any remaining batches. Place that same pot back over a medium-high heat. You can add a touch of olive oil if you need to. Add in the onions as well as a pinch of salt, and the moisture from the onions will start lifting the fond from the bottom. And we want to stir and sweat these off for about 3 to 4 minutes, picking up all of that flavor until they're translucent and slightly golden. Add the chopped garlic and cook it for about a minute, just enough to take the edge off and let it release some of its aroma. And then next to go in is the tomato paste. This is about 60 grams or 1/4 of a cup. Let that cook down for about 2 to 3 minutes. We want it to slightly caramelize, and this is going to deepen the flavor and soften the acidity slightly. If the pan does get too hot, just slightly turn it down. We don't want anything to burn. With the garlic and tomato paste cooked out, it's time to load everything back in. Start with the chopped carrots and potatoes, then add the seared beef along with any of its resting juices. Pour in 1 litre of beef stock, enough to cover everything, followed by 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce for a little umami touch. Drop in the bouquet garni and season with a good pinch of salt and a few cracks of black pepper, about 20 cracks worth. Give everything a gentle mix to combine and bring it up to a boil. Once that's boiling, we can then reduce the heat to low, cover with a lid and cook for 2 to 2.5 hours or until that meat is tender and falling apart. And if the liquid reduces too much, you can top it up with a touch more stock. Now for the mash, this part is inspired by one of the most legendary chefs of all time, Joel Robuchon. He was known for elevating simple ingredients to perfection, and his mashed potatoes, or pomme puree, are iconic. Robuchon held more Michelin stars than any chef in history, and at his restaurants, his mash was buttery, silky, and rich. But I will admit, this isn't going to be for everyone. It is incredibly rich, so I will leave a more mild version in the description below. All we've done is peeled and chopped 1 kilo of potatoes, adding them into a pot and then filling this up with cold water. We always start in cold water unless otherwise specified, and this is going to make sure that the potatoes all come up to temperature at the same time and cook at the same rate. You can also add a nice generous pinch of salt, and I like to place the lid on until that comes to a boil. When it is at a boil, what we're going to do is cook these for about 20 to 25 minutes or until they're fork tender, then drain them through a colander and allow them to completely dry out. You can also place them over a medium-high heat and just stir them until most of the moisture evaporates. Now, while the potatoes are still hot, we can start mashing. You can even use a traditional masher, a food mill, or a ricer, which is what I'm using to get them extra smooth. I'm also going to do one step further, and this is where you get that Michelin style mash. I'm placing it through a sieve just to make sure there is absolutely no lumps. Of course, I know people like different textured mash, so you don't have to do this, but this is just a base guideline for you to follow, or not, depends how you like your mash. Now, the next step to do is add in 200 grams of cold cubed unsalted butter. I know this seems like a crazy amount. Like I said, I'll leave a toned down version of this mash in the description. Using the cold butter might sound odd, but it melts slowly and emulsifies as it mixes through, giving you that silkier, more luxurious texture than it was if you were just to melt it ahead of time. It is also a good idea to allow the first half to melt and then add in the second half. That way you're not adding too much at once. And we're also going to do the exact same with half a cup of warm full cream milk, mixing that through, allowing it to mix through completely, and the warm milk integrates better and won't shock the butter, which keeps that mash from splitting or becoming greasy. Once that's done, we can then keep this warm until we're ready to serve. Then going back to the stew, this has been cooking for just over 2 hours. It's time to lift the lid, and straight away you're hit with that rich, deep aroma. The sauce is thickened, the beef is tender and falling apart, and that surface is glossy with flavor. We also want to remove that bouquet garni, just make sure nothing has fallen out like what mine did. This can then be removed from the stovetop, and for the best part, which is serving up, start with a generous spooning of that buttery mash. It's soft, smooth, and ready to soak up all of that rich stew. Laid all over the beef and gravy, make sure you top it off with any of the vegetables, and you can see that tender, slow-cooked chuck coated in the sauce that's thick, glossy, and full of flavor. And I'm also adding a touch of flat leaf parsley. And what we've got is a dish that's hearty, comforting, and made entirely from scratch, all within our $50 budget. Everything that you've seen in this video, the fresh produce, quality beef, herbs, pantry staples, came in under $50. We stuck to the budget, made every ingredient count, and ended up with 6 generous servings of rich, slow-cooked beef stew with that creamy mash. Better still, we've got enough leftover ingredients to build another dish or two later in the week. Shopping seasonal, cooking from scratch, it doesn't just taste better, it goes further, and the final cost per portion comes out to $6.13. There is only one thing left to do though. And that is, of course, we can then dig in. The flavor on that is next to none. The meat literally just melts in your mouth. You can even crush it with your tongue. The sauce has so much flavor. The veggies really add that nice little bit of depth. The mash just soaks up the sauce, making it even more flavorsome. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of this recipe, what you want to see next, and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.